are with another outstanding local artist here for this edition of Art Unfiltered. Wesley De Vries, I understand you have a talent we need to talk about. Hi to you.
Hi to you also.
Yay. What's your talent? Who are you?
I'm Wes De Vries, and I am an artist. I have SMA, and it's spinal muscular atrophy. And it's been taking my arms, and it starts in the limbs. It works a lot like ALS, only slower paced. I was working in the tool and die industry, and I kind of hit a brick wall. However, and I was diagnosed with ALS first, and then, of course, when they did gene tests and everything, and they decided it was SMA, which is, I still don't understand.
Sure.
However,
life has gone on, and you continue to make
art. It has. In fact, I kept working and kept my mouth shut just because I needed to support family. In roughly 2009, I think, is when I just felt more fatigued and all of that.
So were you an artist before the challenges started?
Yes, I was, but not full on. I was working and just doing it kind of on the side. I took a few classes at Kendall, night classes that didn't have the credits to go with it, but they were awesome. In fact, I learned more in that one class that I took there, and many of them.
So what's your art, Wes?
My art was representational at first. I started with watercolor, and then I took to work again, and that kind of tailed off. But when I hit the brick wall, I started up again because it was more freeing for me. And I was painting with brushes, but it was hard, and I was painting the traditional way. And somebody, a friend of mine who's an artist also, she said, just have at it. Let loose. She said, put this gesso on, which is the whiteout you see, or what canvases are painted on, and put texture on it, throw it on, and see what happens.
And what instrument did you use to make that happen?
Brushes at the time, and then a palette knife, which was so hard to hold because I have to do it this way. So I figured something out. My wife's cousin painted us a really cool mailbox, and he said he painted it with a deck of cards, and that sprung an idea. Well, deck of cards, but they got soggy, so somebody gave me their old gift card.
So you were using a gift card
as
your
credit
instrument.
cards.
Wow.
There they all are. You know, people are now giving me their expired ones and stuff. And it was so.
What do you paint, Wes? What do you paint?
Acrylic on canvas.
What do we see?
What do you see? Oh my gosh. Tragedy. I look for movement in a picture. And a picture such as this, people just see it for what it is. It's people being evacuated from their building from the New York Times. The photo I thought was fantastic. I almost want to call some of these photographers and say, your angle, your whatever has inspired me, because look, I see movement. When I see this arm going this way and this gun and this woman just trying to get out of there and helping, you know.
Why the choice of this type of art?
More freeing, because details started taking a back seat with my disability. And it seems like the more detailed I get with my arms and hands, the more pain I get. And I battle pain more than atrophy sometimes. So it's just easier to take the card. I can smear it. I can, line it. And it's just, I can move it around, and I get paint all over me. But ultimately, any painting I'm doing now, I have no idea until they're done what they are. And I'm finding out through painting that a lot of myself has come out, like just the anger, frustration, happy times, or even memories.
So your art tells stories. Can you give me an example of how you work here?
Sure, absolutely. First, I start with a photograph that I found. It's underneath this one. Okay, I found this one, It's of two boys sitting there with, there's guns and everything looks bombed out and rubble's everywhere. You know, they're salvaging. I
Right.
see that.
So you see that. And then how do you choose your paints? Set that up for me.
Well, first I'll look at it at every angle. I'm looking for something, the shapes and everything, but it's just the way that is. So I'm thinking it's going to go vertically, and so I'm looking at it more like that, where the base is. So what I do is the fastest drawing with charcoal I can, and I do it blind contour. If anybody knows what that is, that's looking at the picture but not taking my eye off the picture and moving my arms accordingly to the lines and the shapes.
Let's see you do that.
So let's whip this out. And here we go. I'm going to start with a boy's head. Now it's not going to look like the boy, it might. Let's see his hand, his face, his arm, and he's got his, it's all going to be meshing together, and then there's the other boy with his. I got to move my arm up a minute. And I see that, and I see his thing, and then there's a gun that comes this way. And then there's a plate right about here with a tea kettle spout. But it's a mangled mess, but it works. And then I got this building support and this crazy wall behind the kids. And I'm not looking for all the details in it, just the shapes and the squares.
It's so freeing, Wes.
It has to be, because, again, taking too much time for details doesn't get the job done for me anymore. I can go into it later with a few things like colors and splashes and trying to get the detail or get more of the shapes in, because it could totally change, but I always start with something. And I see some bricks with some,
You cover the whole canvas?
yeah. Sometimes I need a resting area, so I'm kind of leaving that as a resting area and that as a resting area. And you can look at it any way you want. Let's see, this is the way it was in the photo.
Wow.
And you can kind of see the kids and the guns and the...
Yes, yes. And you're pretty unique with this style, right, Wes?
There's a lot of, well, yes and no. I guess with the credit cards I am, the way I do it and the way they turn out, which is pretty amazing. We'll get a fresh one here. And,
You're choosing the color of yellow.
well, for starters. And I painted over this painting here, but I might leave some of that in, like this orange streak. I find that very interesting. If it becomes too precious and I'm working too hard around it,
Yes.
I'll cover it.
Do you have to also assess the fatigue of your muscles and yourself as you paint, Wes?
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of, sometimes it'll start freezing up. I do take a lot of breaks. I'll wind up literally flat on the floor. It just happens. And
What do you do with your art?
I'm up in a gallery because of friends in Pentwater, so I've actually tried to do something beachy, but in an abstract sort of way.
Right.
But I enter in Legacy Trust, I've entered in ACT, I've anything that's out there for this kind of thing.
So Wes, in the big
Yeah.
picture, what's your message to those who might have challenges like yourself?
Everybody's an artist, and I believe that wholeheartedly. Even my wife, who doesn't think she is. You have to take the time, and you do need to learn a few things, but I've seen amazing things from people who are worse off than I am. I'm blown away. They have very little movement. One artist had to tear paper. That was his physical therapy for a day, but he tore paper and he had help putting it on his canvas. And what his result was blew my mind. It's just stick with it, learn what you can. There are things you got to learn, and like composition is key. But I would just say it's very freeing, and a lot comes out. A lot of yourself comes out in it. And after just being kind of in the norm and working 12-hour days, and coming home and doing everything around the house, my journey has changed. It's totally changed, and it just has to be this way because all those things I have to get help for now, and this frees me up. And as much as I can, I get down here and do it.
Thank you for your inspiration for this edition of our Art Unfiltered. Wesley De Vries, our local artist, with some inspiring words and some inspiring works of art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for coming.